Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope everybody is doing well. We will just be starting in a few minutes. We're waiting for David to come out of an urgent engagement. So in the meantime, please just feel free to do whatever else you want. I will let you know when we're ready to go. I will pause the session in the meantime, and as soon as David hops on, we'll give it a go. Have a very special guest for this episode number 8. We have David Barrett, and I'm sure we don't need too many introductions because probably most of you already know David from his global presence in multiple in multiple areas of our industry. Hi, David. Thank you so much for being here. You've had probably a very, very busy day, but we're happy you made it, and we are very much looking forward to having this conversation with you.
Pleased to be here. Thank you. Global, I'm not so sure about, but
I mean, I dare to disagree a bit based
maybe
on my research. Yeah. Well, we can think of Toronto being global. we are an immigrant country, right? So we have so many nations here. But you have you are involved in so many projects that I could probably not even have time to start talking about, and we might maybe we have some time today to go through the highlights of your career and achievements, but because we have our books and beyond session is typically focused more on discussions around books. You have 8 of them, which obviously is obvious that you definitely enjoy writing books, and we are curious to know your point of view as to why and what's the benefit of that. And out of these books, we mentioned that we said that we would probably start with the keys to our success, and then we can just take it from there. I think our audience will have much to learn from those lessons learned. So I'll just give it up to you if you'd like to kind of walk us through a bit of how that book started. Where was that initiative?
Yeah, I did a webinar recently myself on book writing. I'm now running a site called projectbytes.com, which is 20-minute content for project managers in the form of videos and podcasts and live events. And I did one for all of my speakers. I have about 120 speakers, and I did a book writing journey or a webinar. And I said, listen, let's talk about why you would do a book and how and what it takes and the pitfalls and the promises that aren't going to be kept and all that kind of fun stuff. So I love talking about it because it takes me back, and it takes me back to this book, The Keys to Our Success, and a book prior to that called The Power of the Plan. You write a book I think for a number of reasons. And in my case, number one, I wanted to be a professional speaker, and it was probably 15 years before I became a professional speaker, which was about 8 or 9 or 10 years ago, when I had a conversation with someone. I was running project management events called Project World, and Toronto event. Someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, that could be you as a speaker. And I went, really? I run events. I don't speak at events. He said, no, you should rethink it. No, I didn't rethink it for the next day, but I rethought it for 15 years later. And I literally started thinking about my future and where I wanted to be when I turned a big number. And I thought strategically. And in fact, another book is on the execution of strategy. And that strategic thinking is as far as our careers go, I think it's really important. So, want to be a professional speaker, how do you get there? And strategy says, this is where I am today. This is what I am, current state. And here's where I want to be, future state. And then, of course, the critical piece is how am I going to get there? And even defining what this looks like is a difficult position, and getting deep into who you are and what you are, your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats and all those cool things. That's not easy either. The whole process is not easy, especially when it's you. But to be a professional speaker, you just can't say I'm going to be a speaker and start putting LinkedIn posts out there. There's got to be some connection for people, and there's got to be, where are your credentials? Where have you been? What have you done? And one of the best things you can do is write a book. And literally, people love authors, and they say, well, it means something. It's got a neon sign that says you're passionate about something, and passionate enough about something that you've written on the subject. In my case, a number of different subjects, and I got a couple of tricks of the trade, and this one especially that we're going to focus on, I use one of my best tricks. And we'll get to that in a moment. But why do you write a book? Because not because it's going to sell. We are not producing the next great novel out there. We are producing business books, and business books are consumed, sure, but they're very, very difficult to make a success out of, a financial success. So I say to my audience, first of all, we don't write books because they're going to make us any money. We write books because they're going to give us credentials into a space that we want to be known for. We want to be a speaker. We want to be known in the space for whatever reason, as a consultant or whatever. And people will therefore read us. And when they read what you say, and when they get a feel for what you're thinking, it is a step forward in a direction. It is something. And it is a way to market yourself. Let's go back to, so I'm marketing myself. Let's be quite honest with everyone. Yes, you're marketing yourself. And you're producing a book that is going to help your brand. That's what a book does. It contributes to brand awareness. And brand awareness number one, or brand part number one, when it's you, is you and what you think. And there's a whole bunch of other pieces of the puzzle, but it's what you think. And so there you go. That's why we write books. We don't write them to make money because they're not going to make money. Oh, yes, I wrote one that made money. Okay, once in a while it works, but typically they don't. They're there to promote the brand. I have a few people in my life, and I'm of that retirement age group. I'm not retiring, never. But I'm of the age where I've got a lot of friends, family members, brothers, and a sister all retiring. And I've got a couple of people in my life that are incredibly intelligent, incredibly well-spoken and well thought of. They have a community of people, and that community of people would love them to write, to contribute, whether it be blogs or books or whatever it is, help produce content to get the conversation going. Unfortunately, most of them don't do that because they can't be bothered. Why? Because what's in it for me? Another reason why we write books is to keep us engaged in a community of practice, because it takes time to think it through, and it helps as we interview people. And so we write books to stay engaged and to stay active and to keep thinking. I write books because, and I didn't really know this, honestly, until a while later, but it turns out that my lot in life, and I have sometimes a hard time saying this, it turns out that it isn't about me, but it's about building the community of practice out there. And it seems that everything I've done, it can point back to helping people either get a job, continue their job, find good project managers, be good project managers, be better project managers, find a consultant, find a speaker, be a good speaker, whatever it is. So when I go back to the recruiting business that I started, projectrecruiting.com or something, way back when no one knew what a project manager was, it was to help people find jobs. Project World, because I wanted to get people together so we could think and learn from each other. And there was no conference in Canada, and there was only one version of it in the United States at the time. So let's get together and share our thoughts. And that was kind of what we did. And the Master Certificate in Project Management program that I developed at the Schulich School of Business in Toronto, the exec ed side, it was to help build project managers, because there was such a shortage of great project managers. So 18 days, let's teach people how to manage projects and be certified in the process and get certified by the PMI and the PMP thing. And then we get to this book, because this book came very early in my career. And someone said, if you're not ready to write a book, maybe you are at the center of a community of practice, and you're well known enough that you could probably reach out and get other people to write the book for you. I don't want to. humble, but I've got my ear to the phone and listening. And he went, yeah, what do you mean? And he said, you know what? Go get a bunch of people to write chapters for you. And the truth was that if you're the kind of person that could do it, could execute that project, then maybe people would appreciate it. People love to work on projects, but they don't want to be the project manager. People want to code, they want to build, they want to slug wall board, they want to put up framing, they want to develop websites, but they don't want to run the whole thing. And so that's kind of me. And I thought, that fits. So why don't we write a book? And what we'll do is we'll answer one question. And we'll get a whole bunch of people to contribute one chapter. And I'll write one chapter. And I'll get a buddy to help me out because I was busy at the time. And we'll produce a book. And we'll all contribute. And that's how this thing, the keys to our success, came along. I went to a friend named Derek Viger. He was still teaching at George Brown College in the project management area, and he helped me produce this book. And I went to him and said, "I'm pretty busy. You want to be the help me out, and we'll keep this project moving." And so what we did is we went out to a whole ton of project managers. I was just telling this story this morning to someone. We went out to 80 project managers. Said, "We're going to write a book. We're going to publish a book, and we are looking for 23 because he'll write one, I'll write one." 25 total chapters. And what we did was I came up with the idea of answering a question that I thought people would love to hear the answer to. And it sure wasn't how do you manage projects? Because, where do you start and what's your goal? You know what? It's going to be all over the map. And we've only got a chapter each. And we only wanted the book to be this thick. So every chapter had to be this thick. And so the question I posed was, what's the key nugget you take into every project that makes you successful? That was a tough question. Oh, let me tell you how to manage projects. Let me tell you how great I am. Let me tell you about my successes. I said, stop, I don't want that. I want you to tell me what nugget, what one practice, document, process, anything that you take into every project that you feel is your key to success in project management. And that's how
that's a good question.
It was brilliant. I even wrote a second version. That was edition 1. I didn't know it, but about 8 years later, I produced a second edition. It's a really good question because everyone's thinking 5, 6, 7 things. And my answer was, nope, one only.
Just one.
Pick one. And of course, we had duplicates. But, let's follow the body of knowledge. The heck with the body of knowledge. Just tell me what's real. Tell me what you do. And that's how this book, The Keys to Our Success, lessons learned, I got it in front of me, lessons learned from 25 of our best project managers. What is the one nugget you take into every project that makes you successful? And we got, of the 80, we got about 50 submissions. This is what I would write about. This would be the title. This would be the description. Don't go anywhere from there. And then we chose from there and we narrowed it down to 25. 23 and then it was like pulling teeth. It wasn't very easy. Everyone's key in the beginning. Sounds great, but then they had to produce. But we were pretty good. We put good milestones on the project and kept it tight and kept the schedule going. And it was pretty neat.
That's an interesting and it's an interesting way of bringing people together, right? And engaging them into a nice collaboration.
And people loved it. The consumers loved it. It did sell well. I gave it away a ton. Every project management conference I went to, every PMI regional meetings, because now I'm promoting my brand as David Barrett as a keynote speaker. And I'm going to all the regional events all around North America. They held them once a year for every region of chapters. And I would meet all the chapters leaders and present me. I'm the keynote speaker. That's what I do. Glad to meet you. But in order to talk to me, if you want the book, it's free. You got to come and talk to me. I gave it away. And people still today say, I've still got that book. And, no one reads these books typically from beginning to end. And this is a perfect example because it's 25 short stories. So you flip, that sounds interesting. One chapter, one paragraph in, you keep going, one paragraph in, you stop. So people pick it away. I get it. That's nice.
So if we want to know what's your nugget, then we have to snatch a copy of your book.
Oh, of course not. I'll tell you about the whole book. No.
I did post the links though in the chat box for folks on the
Oh, cool.
in the center, so they
I hope
can
that Amazon
take it
link still
anyway.
works. Oh, good. You know what? It was a fabulous collection, and I can highlight the best. You know, it's funny. What I did was I created a keynote speech for chapters and for regions based on the book, and I brought the book with me, and you could get a copy in the back, and you can get e-version if you wish. And I highlighted in 1 hour 5 of what I thought were the most interesting chapters. Not that there was a competition, but the ones that if I talked about it and if I talked to you about it, then it would make a difference to you tomorrow. Versus the one that talked about a theory that you'd have to go and pay thousands of dollars to adopt or spend 5 months going back to school to learn. More common sense ideas from people that had a really cool something that they presented that that they used in every project that I could listen to right now and adopt tomorrow to make me better. And I created a speech and I talked about those 5 things, including my own, of course.
So that's your nugget. That's your chapter.
Which one? No, I haven't told you my chapter yet. You want me to tell you about my chapter?
Maybe.
It's no secret. There's no secret. I'd love to tell you about all 5 of them, but you know, we don't have a lot of time. You call the schedule. But depending on where you'd like this conversation to go, I can tell you all about the key nuggets I think were most interesting. I can skip to each one of them quickly, and you could ask questions. But whatever you wish.
I think that would be interesting for everybody to know what you think were the most interesting, as well as yours, because your success is very much visible across multiple planes. So I think people would be interested to know what's your nugget.
I'll tell you about my nugget. I've always felt this. My nugget says, my chapter was called Never Go In Alone. When you start thinking as a project manager, director, leader, or any senior position or junior position, that you're good enough to take it all on yourself, I'm not interested. I want project managers that, even though they think they're the greatest, know that there's no way they can do it on their own, that they need support. I'm not talking about they need people that can build faster, cement faster, code faster, but I'm talking about finding your people and making sure that you have set yourself up with relationships that will help you through the tough times, the rough times, the foggy times, the changes, the fights, the arguments, and everything else. Never going alone. Go and find your coaches now. Go find your mentors now. Go identify. Basic 101. Go identify your key stakeholders, or your stakeholders, not key, just all your stakeholders. And that's something that I guess we do. But I'm saying, not just find your stakeholders, but find the key people that you're going to need along the way. Here's my point, or here's my advice to all project managers, and I will talk about this on Thursday when we opening day in Toronto for the Master Certificate in Project Management. I do it all the time. Build the foundation from the start. Know the scope of the requirements of the project. Get that scope clearly defined. Then go find your people. Go find your people. Never go alone. Go find your people. Who are they? Well, they are your coaches and their mentors. They're your subject matter experts. They're the people that you're going to need later on, but not now. Later on is not the time for you to go and ask for help. Now's the time for you to go into that person's office and say, hey, Barb, I'm taking on that project. You've heard of it? Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. And I think, actually, I know, but I'm going to be polite. I think that I'm going to get into some really mucky stuff there. There's going to be a lot of politics. I know there's some key people in there that I'm going to have to deal with that are difficult to deal with. I'm going to have a real people problem. And you've been there before. You know how that space works. I'm wondering if I could buy a coffee every week. Once a week, Thursday mornings, whatever you wish. Every second week to begin with. Set yourself up now. Find your subject matter expert and say, listen, I'm in a space, I don't know this technology. I think I'm the right person to manage this project. but I don't know the technology well enough. Could I meet with you on a regular basis? Listen, now's the time, rather than storm into Barb's office and say, oh my God, in tears, have you not slept for 3 days? And beg for help because you're in such trouble. Now's the time to set your support system up. Project management can kill us. So, I mean, it can be a very unhealthy occupation. The object of the game today is stay healthy, stay strong, build your support system. We don't want to burn you out. I don't want to burn my people out, and I want to repeat. I want to be known for a strong, healthy project environment. So go find your people. So never go alone. Now's the time to do it at the front end of the project. Line them up, not when you are desperate. And don't come to me at the 11th hour and say you're in trouble because you thought you could do it yourself, because you had everything under control, because you thought you're the greatest project manager in the world and you knew the technology and you could get through this political mess out there, this terrible mess. And you've never done it before. So don't be so bold to think you can do it. Protect yourself. One of the things I tell project managers all the time at the front end is do your due diligence before you say yes. Do your due diligence even though you have no choice, yes or no, because you work for the company. But do your due diligence right up front before that scope definition, the requirements management, scope definition, finding your people. Spend time understanding exactly what's going on as best you can. If you're an independent consultant, before you say yes. So you do not. I mean, it can be career limiting out there. Right? Be careful. Do your due diligence so that you can then go to the right people to set yourself so that you're never alone. You've got your support system. You know that it's going to be really stressful. You know that it's going to be a tough slog. And go find people that can help you. Learn how to meditate. That's what I do. If you think it's going to put you under stress,
it's a great piece of advice and well tested, I'm sure. Do you think it's applicable, though? I know it's a bit sidetracked, but do you think I think you raised a good point about consultants earlier. So I was just thinking if, when you're going into as a consultant, it might be sometimes tricky to find those right people in a new environment where basically those people are somewhat connected already. Let's say they were working for a company, so they're all within a certain level of connection. And then, you as a consultant will appear somewhat of an outsider, but will also have to get the role of a project manager and bring those people together. So I'm just curious how you would handle one situation like that. How you would find those people that can
when I
help
talk about
you.
never going in alone and finding your support system, I'm not necessarily saying get the people together, get that team charter going. And that team charter is brilliant. Project charter, team charter, another whole topic for the day. So I'm just saying going out, you go out and find your support system. Brand new company, you don't know anyone, or you have a feeling that everyone that's got potential to help you is connected somehow and maybe dangerously so to the project, or it just might not be a good hit. And your question might be very valid. What do I do if they're not internal? Go outside. I know Bob Smith, and Bob's done this for about 5 other companies. I know some really good political people, the people that talk at Project Bites, that talk on project politics. Vijay Verma, Vancouver. Vijay, going out to a new project, wondering if I could call you every once in a while, pick up the phone, and we could chat. This is the scenario. I'm getting in trouble. This is the scenario. Things are all right, but it's bubbling a bit. Well, David, listen, right now, before you get into it, listen, it gets a little dark soon, but why don't you think about the following steps? It doesn't have to be internal. It can be an external resource as well. It can be a partner in life. It can be an ex-colleague. You know what? If you haven't burnt many bridges, there's lots of people out there that would like to help you, that would support you, that love you enough that, heck, people like talking. People like supporting. If it's not going to cost me 3 hours a day, then I'm in. Test my knowledge, test my skills, and it gives me new as a supporter. It gives me new space to be to help others. It's nice.
Yeah, and you somewhat build a career on that. So yeah, yeah, no, that's a good piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
How 25? What did 25 represent for the keys of our success in
Oh, that's
particular
a
for the first year?
very technical answer. I went and looked at all the business books and looked at the average size of a business book divided by 25 and came up with the number of pages. Then went to the average font size of a business book, started counting words and figuring it out. And thought, okay, it's going to be 25,000 words. Roughly, please, 1,000 words. I also thought, when I look and read an article on a topic, what's overkill? Right now, I'm building this projectbytes.com thing. 20 minutes. It's brilliant. And I didn't think it up. TED Talks did. 17 to 18 minutes. It's the way that adults, it's that time frame that adults can pay attention and still learn and be inspired. And so you go to the book and say, okay, if I were to present a whole bunch of chapters that were not connected at all and write enough that inspired and educated but didn't bore you and you didn't, it's 1,000 words. 800
Yeah, that's probably good enough to keep your attention there, right? And it's probably also easy for the was it easier, you find, for the writers as well to
Yes, I
manage
think
those
I think that
1,000?
1,000 words was more doable. We often write articles at 1,000 words, and so I blog post at 300 to 400 every week. 1,000 was doable. 5,000. I wouldn't have got. We would not have got 35 to 40 responses to get the 25.
Yeah.
We
That's a good
you want to
approach.
put it into something that's marketable and sellable to them as well. They would figure, I could do this easy. Do it all the time.
Depends how many tools they have at their disposal. Sometimes it might be difficult to get from something really comprehensive to summarize it perfectly into just 1,000 words. It might
Well,
sound simple, but it might not.
condensing what we say, project managers, I say one of the biggest problems we have is that we know too much and we talk too much. We know too much. We know everything and all the details of the project. And so when the executive vice president of IT meets us in the elevator and she says, hey, you got 2 minutes to give me an update on the project? Well, I can't. Can I have 20 minutes? No, you got 2 minutes. In fact, all you've got is this elevator ride. When they talk about an elevator pitch, project managers should learn how to do a project elevator pitch. 20 seconds, give it to me. And you know what? Let the reader, the listener, the elevator ride occupant stop and say, oh, give me more. But we should be able to deliver it in 20 seconds, that elevator pitch. So we know too much. Getting project managers to succinctly put that one nugget into 1,000 words wasn't as easy as I thought and they thought, but they did it. They worked out pretty well.
They sold it too. The 23.
The 23 chapters came out pretty well.
I'm sure you and your partner Derek, probably Derek, right?
Derek Weiger, yes.
Derek Weiger. You guys had the chance to, I guess, review every submission that you got, and then you just took the best of
Yeah,
them
we
all.
tore it open. We categorized them. We looked at it by category. We looked at it by ratings of what we liked when we read the little capture. We weren't reading 1,000 words. We were reading 100 words. I think we put a limit on the number of words you could put in your submission. So this one really caught me. This one didn't. Rank 5. You caught me. 1, you didn't, and anything in between. We liked the we liked the different categories. We had a lot of leadership stuff. We wanted some technical stuff in there, so we had to start balancing things off a bit. Yeah, it was good. We had a real ranking system. In the end, it was pretty easy to come up with the answers.
We have a question from one of our attendees. Which of the lessons surprised you the most, and why?
Yeah. I'll tell you the lesson that I still talk about it almost every workshop and presentation I do. When I talk about communicating well, communicating is such a big thing, and there was a lot of in the book about communication. So this is the one. Surprised me in that I never thought of it. Surprises me still today because I still talk about it. And in fact, I had a lot of the speakers, those who wish, cut a video back when video was unheard of. And this video is still embedded in a lot of my presentations. And it's only about 3 minutes long. And it was the author was Benoit de Grasse out of Montreal. And Benoit still works for me in the Master Certificate program at Schulich, still good buddies. And he said, I think his title was Learn How to Communicate Clearly and Succinctly. I'm not too sure if that was the exact title. Benoit de Grasse from Project Management Center. And Benoit said, every project I go in on that communications piece, and I go in demanding of myself, Benoit, and demanding of all others to keep it clear and keep it succinct. And in order to do that, I use a tool, he said in this project, in this chapter. And he tells you all about the tool. And the tool, I call it the power of 7 plus or minus 2, which is basically the rule. 7 plus or minus 2. And what does that mean? It means that everything you produce in word or spoken presentation PowerPoint should be built around the premise that there's no more than 7 units plus or minus 2. So we're presenting, and we've got an hour to present. I'm not going to say I have got 15 things to tell you. That's illegal, he says. You are maximum 9, 7 plus 2 if you wish. But the beautiful is 7 or 5 plus or minus 2. And whenever I've spoken or presented, I've always kept it to 5 to 7 chunks. That's it. I tell you what I'm going to tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I tell you, I break it down. At the end, I say, here's what I told you. There were 5 things. When you say there are 15 things or 12 things or 21 things, it's just a killer. And for some people, they just want to die because it's too much. In a project update report, you are going to update on 6, no more than 5 or 7 plus or minus 2, no more than 9 areas of the project, from finance to operations to marketing, not 21 pieces. Now, if within each, and you get to part 3, you could say, okay, within this area, there are 3 things I want to tell you. There are 5 things. There's not 15 points. And so the adult, it's not a learner, it's the adult brain. And this, sorry, don't jump ahead, David. This adult brain, he says, better manages things in chunks of 7 plus or minus 2. No more. 7 plus or minus 2. And this theory actually came out of Harvard in the late 60s. And a gentleman, his name goes beyond me at the moment, who came up with this theory. And he wrote papers on it, and people really loved it. And it still stands today that the adult has you have a better chance of getting your point across, telling the story well, presenting and getting the deal, if you break your message down into chunks of 7 plus or minus 2. Your spreadsheets, 7 plus or minus 2 columns, rows possibly. Your agenda items for your meetings, your project update report I've mentioned, your book, especially your presentation. Don't go beyond 9 chunks. I love that. I swear by it. And I have people that heard me say it 5, 6, 8, 10, 15 years ago. I still use it today. I still am very careful about communicating. The email I sent yesterday that's got, okay, let's go through the instructions. There's 6 things I want to tell you. And you have to sometimes chunk a couple together to get it into 6 pieces, but people go, gosh, that's good. I can consume 6 pieces. But when there are 15 steps, I don't even read past it. It's a great question. I love that one. I love that power of 7 plus or minus 2 from Benoit de Grasse. Clearly and succinctly getting your message across. It isn't speaking clearly. It isn't being dramatic. It isn't your graphics on your presentation. It's the way you structure the message. I love that. I love that. It's been good. Keep it simple.
Yeah. And thank you for the question, though.
I love that. Thank you. Bye.
Is there anything else from those 23, 24 other?
I'll tell you. Let me read you there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I highlighted. You've heard 2. I'll give you 5 others. I'm not even going to tell you about it. You pick one after the 5. Okay.
Okay.
Number 1, know your leadership style. Understand you before you go into a project, so that you don't get yourself into trouble, and so that you can clearly communicate to your team what kind of leader you are, because they want to know. Because we all lead differently, don't we? And I think great project managers who are strong will go in and say, and this is the team charter piece. Great, you tell me all about you. I'm going to tell you about me. This is the kind of leader I am. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. When I get bad marks, this is why I get bad marks. When I'm good, this is why I'm really good. And when I'm somewhere in the middle, this is why I'm somewhere in the middle. Know your leadership style, number 1. Number 2, use scalability and common sense. Every tool out there available to project managers is not to be used exclusively, always, and in full form. Look at the tool and say, do I really need to use this? And if I do, what part of it do I need? Whether it be Microsoft Project, whether it be Zoom, whether it be a PowerPoint presentation, these are tools. Do you really need a PowerPoint in this case? There's only 2 of you in the room. Well, this is stupid. To the phone, that old-fashioned thing. Look at the tool to use your common sense and scale your use of these tools. Get into the head of your sponsor. The sponsor is the most critical resource on your stakeholder list. And your job is to get into the head of the sponsor. It was Ken Robertson, an old buddy of mine. Kevin Aguano. Take your time, make sure that you really understand who they are, what they're all about, where their pains are, what they want from you, what you want from them. It's a very, very important role. Do not pass over that one too lightly. Understand the business. Just because you're building the widget for the business doesn't mean you know the business. Understand why the widget is being built. Understand where it fits into the puzzle and how potentially it fits into the strategic plan. Know what's going on. Ask the why more often than we do. Don't just build it and deliver it. Back in the day when I joined the PMI, our job was to build it on time, on scope, on budget. It wasn't our problem if it didn't work or if it didn't get sold. Well, we expect more from our project managers today, and understanding the business, understanding the why and the purpose is much more important. Learning how to talk CXO language, CEO, CFO, NEO, Chief Anything Officer. Project managers typically don't know how to talk to the C-suite, and they should understand how to communicate with them. It's a very different language, and they should know it. If they don't, they should learn. And it's a critical component, because the biggest complaint about project managers today is they don't know how to talk our language. They know too much. I ask them for a 20-second update, elevator pitch, update on the project, and I get asked if I could steal 20 minutes. No. Learn how to talk my language. It's not your language at all. So know your leadership style. Understand scalability and common sense when working with the tools. That's number 2. Number 3, get into the head of your sponsor. Number 4, understand the business. Number 5, learn how to talk CXO language. Those are your 5. I could talk very brief about any one of them, given our time possibly. I've talked about never going alone, and I've talked about learning how to communicate clearly and succinctly. By the way, I've got project vision, making the most fundamentals to external projects, starting a project with trouble in mind, moving to waterfall to agile, treating people like VIPs. There's so much in this book, but these are the ones I love.
The last one I find very interesting and probably less spoken about the Learn CXO language.
So what does CXO care about? You put a CXO, you put the chief financial officer, you put the CEO in front of us today. Pop, new window. There are 3 of us in the discussion, and we ask her, what keeps you up at night? And the project manager in the crowd says, I know what keeps her up at night. You're kidding. You really do? Yeah, it's whether my project gets done on time, on budget, and on scope. It is so far from that. She doesn't even know what you're working on. That's the problem. You see, they're talking about life of this business and this organization, this not-for-profit, this association, this government business, this piece of the government business, 3 and 5 years from now. They're talking strategic think. They're thinking strategically about how we get from here to there. They're looking at the big picture always. Yes, your project is important, but there's 400 of them in the operations right now on the go. Heck, largest bank in Canada has 800 project managers. You can imagine how many projects each one of those manage. That's just in technology alone. If you went to the CEO or the chair of that bank, he or she would not talk about any of those projects. They would talk portfolio of work. They would talk how that portfolio of work is going to help them execute to a plan that's bigger than you and me. The CEO, the CFO, the chief operating officer, the chief marketing officer, they're bottom line oriented. It's building the business. It's business success. For the financial side, it's return on investment. It's the bottom. It's the value of the stock. It's the quarterly earnings. And that's what they think about. It's got nothing to do with your project, but smart project managers will learn that that's their language. And how do I speak it? Well, how I speak it is I build the bridge between that world and my world. And I find out, and I know well before I get stuck in an elevator with her, that this is how my work, that my project will contribute to the success of this organization, to the value of the share price, to the growth of a division that I work in. And when I know that, a whole bunch of really cool things come up, especially the way we talk. And when they say, how are we doing? I don't talk about a critical path. I don't talk about the details. I can talk about my project in terms of what they're interested in and how that's going to affect the business. We're coming along. It is going well according to the original design of this project so that it can execute to the bigger plan. It's going to fit really well, and we are on time. Those are the key elements. You're going to build it like it was originally designed, and you're going to deliver it on time. The rest of it's just bunk. It's just you getting the job done.
What do you think would be, I guess, the best way for project managers to start learning this language?
Yeah, I love the question. There's some fabulous courses out there that help us not to the financial side, not build a P&L, a profit and loss statement, but understand how to read it. There's a program I've heard out that's offered at organizations, but the one I'm attached to, it offers one called Financial Management for Non-Financial Managers. Beautiful. Financial management for non-financial managers is nothing to do with how you debit and credit, how you increase and decrease in assets. By the way, you increase an asset with a debit. I remember that. They don't want you to be accountants, but what we want you to do is read a balance sheet, read a P&L, understand how to build a cash flow statement that makes sense, that is built on models, that is built on variables so that we can make changes as we look and think about it. If it's the business side, it's understanding business acumen, it's understanding strategy. We're presenting a course in a short period of time with 3 days. Leadership beyond projects. What is leadership beyond projects? Business acumen, understanding the business, understanding strategy and how to think strategically, and strategy development and execution. And then simply another catch-all for a day called leadership in today's world, which is what's really important and how should leaders be behaving in today's world. And I would advise people to reach out and find courses that can fill those gaps. Understand what leaders are up to, and you're not going to take a course on full-on leadership of a 45, 55, 65,000 employee bank. But when you understand what their key roles are, strategy, business acumen, financial management, go take a couple of days. Don't take a whole degree. Take a couple of days. Fill the gaps. understand the language.
Surely there must also be some internal resources, I'm assuming. I'm not sure if
I don't think so.
Some ways.
I've been with a major Canadian bank. Would they teach me about another department of what they do? I don't think so. I think our organizations are more focused on teaching me how to be a better what I am today. That's an interesting question. Be a better project manager, be a better financial analyst, be a better marketer, be a better salesperson. They'll send you to sales training.
So I know I guess I asked because in one of my previous companies, there was a discussion about a potential training for people who are accessing managerial roles and higher to teach them how to step into those shoes and change their mindset and basically their whole behavior and become better as managers from stepping in just from general managers, department managers, so on and so forth. So that was a pretty cool initiative. I don't think that they actually put it in place by the time I was still there, because they hit a lot of I guess just change management restrictions. But I think that the idea would have been a good one. I think that at least from my experience, it seems that sometimes people when they step into these roles, they're not really familiar with how I should change my mindset.
Yes. Yes. And that's the 3 days that I created. Change my mindset. And show me what I should start to learn. Give me a taste. And it's too bad that you left and you can't tell me that they successfully implemented, because I was about to say, wow, I want to work for that company. They're smart. I mean, and I can tell you that there was an article way back, Forbes.com's talking about the 10,000 leaders a day are retiring from the corporate America, and that would be 1,000 a day in corporate Canada. It's a lot of people retiring, leaving gaping holes where they were because we aren't spending enough time training our people to come up and fill those positions, working with them to be better prepared for those future positions. I love that. And so giving people an opportunity to get a taste of where they might go, as well as how we want them to work and think. It's very nice.
Yeah, no, I think the initiative was a good one. I'm not sure this is a very specific industry example, but maybe other companies are doing it. Who knows?
I like it. If I were running a company today of a lot of people, I'd go to HR and say, I want to see this course in action tomorrow. I want to give our people ways that they can explore their future growth in this organization. I don't want to lose them. I am going to lose them, but I'm going to lose some, but I don't want to lose a lot. And so I want to put pieces in place where they will be able to say, I love this organization. They're really thinking about me and my 5 and 10 year plan.
Yeah. How did you choose going a bit back to the book? I was just thinking, the folks you submitted who submitted the application to you, were they also only from North America or Canada, or was it a global?
When Derek and I did it, we used my list. My list was very North American. I'm going to close my door. My list was very North American centric, and but in version 2, because we did a second edition, Keys to Our Success. I did a different partner, but we went further, and we definitely went over to Europe because now I was much more connected to the US and Europe and Australia, and I run a couple of events in Melbourne and Sydney. I've been to India, so it was fun. We stretched our wings out a bit.
So the second edition is basically global.
It's a bit more global,
lessons learned.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a good conversation because I'm thinking maybe I should do a third edition. Maybe it's time. I know a lot more people now. My Project Bites thing, I mean, the list is up to like 550 content providers, instructors, trainers, and consultants. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay.
I think it's a simple but also a catchy idea and project. So
I do too.
As you mentioned in a few occasions, people like to work on these kind of projects. It's interesting though, because you would think that all these project managers, at the end of the day, they would still want to project manage, which they do for their own chapter. but then you, alongside your partners or by yourself as an author, you basically project manage the project managers.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yep. A taste of their own medicine.
While also contributing with them. Did you also have a chapter in your second edition? Or this was
Yes.
just for others?
Yes, I do. And I don't remember what it was. I think it was a different version of Never Going Alone. The keys to our success, you see? Never too far away. Kathy, Sonia, and myself. She's from North Carolina. I think it was, I'll tell you right now. Table of contents, list of authors. David Barrett, 157. Boy, oh boy. I got some great names in here. Successful project managers serve their teams 3 basic needs. Wow. That was a good title. They want to be happy and healthy during and after the project completion. So I'm writing on your team's basic needs. What does your team want out of this? They want to be happy and healthy during and after. So project managers that say, I did it, and have bodies strewn over behind them are no good. They felt well-informed during the life cycle of the project. They never struggled with what they were going to do and what they needed to do. They're always aware of the next work in line, right? No gaps, no, I wish they were better organized. I wish I was doing. And they felt under control during the project. So that support system was there. And if they felt out of control, there was people there to help. So, yeah, for version 2. I'm glad you made me pull that open. I haven't opened that book for a little while.
Yeah. Do you have the other books there? I'm sure you do.
The keys to our success, the orange one.
The first one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's lots out there. There's the power of the plan. That's the project managers for non-project managers. There's the business analyst book of mentors. Same product for business analysts. That was a good one. There was one called the 7 elements of strategy execution. So on the theory that most strategies fail, 60%, Forbes said, strategic plans fail in some way, shape, or form. And my friend Mona Mitchell and I went out and interviewed leaders out there in corporate land and said, this is what we heard. Do you think it's true? And all of them said absolutely, and here's why. It was really good. We came up with 7 key elements of strategy execution and why they failed. I know there's a couple of other books there, and there's a few by people that are not me, but there's one I wrote for PMI chapters about managing association members, and so that's different.
It seems you have. Do you enjoy a collaboration when it comes to writing books?
I love it. Well, books, my conferences, Project Bites, everything I've done, I've collaborated with someone.
So you basically just stand by the never going alone, I guess.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Good wrap up. You're right. I'd stand by that. I guess I do. Don't go it alone. And you know what? I'm alone on this last one, Project Bites. I'm lonely. I need someone to help me out. It's just crazy. I got a great startup, and all of a sudden 2 years, I'm like, what? This is nuts. So, yeah, never going alone.
Do you want to talk about it briefly?
Do you want to sit down, David, and there's a couch there, put your head down and talk about it a bit? Well, you know what? As an entrepreneur, sometimes you do make the mistake of thinking, I can build this on my own. The truth is that right from the go-get, I knew this could be bigger than me. I'm now at a point where I've built a pretty strong project with 70 plus hours of content, 200 plus videos, podcasts. I'm running monthly events. And now I'm finding other people to fill in the gaps, potentially a partner that can help drive the business. So it's not as easy as everyone thinks. It's always a little different.
You also have many things to take care of, right? So
in this case, there's a lot. This is not just publishing a book. This is a website that's a subscription-based site. I'm selling it to chapters, licensing it to chapters, hopefully licensing it to corporations, managing subscriptions, while we're also building it out, the technology side as well. So it's pretty fun.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's called projectbites.com. Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for asking. I feel much better now.
Well, I guess it's also rewarding to see all these projects coming to life as they are, and the gratitude that they get to. So
Yeah, thank you. It is fun. So,
what's next?
this is it.
That's it.
This is it. Yeah. After this, you're going to be reading my obituary in the Globe and Mail, and that won't be for another 20 years. That's all right. 30 years. 30 years. Yeah. I'm a little older, but it's been good. But this Project Bites is it. I still work for the Schulich School of Business, and I will carry on because I love them, and so far they still love me. We run a really good product, and we've expanded across the country. So I manage that, and I teach opening day. On this side, my own side, it's Project Bites. Give it 5 years. I think we're onto something. It's going to take a while to really get it to stick. But I think this 20-minute nugget, which is what the whole thing is all about, 20 minutes of knowledge in different formats, from live events to podcasts to audio downloads to videos to discussions. It's 20 minutes long.
So basically, no rules. Is there a specific framework for the 20 minutes?
For the 20 minutes?
Yeah.
No. If you got a voice, if you have a passion for project management, if you have a voice that you want to share with the audience, then email me tomorrow, dbarrett@solutionsnetwork.com. I am always looking for new content. We are typically adding 2 to 3 videos a week. We're bringing in 2, 3, 4 new speakers a month. And there's no major hurdle to get through. If it sounds like you could pull it off and you are a presenter, you've done that before, you're a consultant, you've got a passion, you can present well or speak well, then all I'm going to tell you is after the meeting and after you understand what's in it for you, because we pay our speakers based on consumption, we promote their brand. We're not a broker, so all your contact information is on the site. We have 2,000 members so far, so we're getting there. We'll promote you and we'll pay you a bit every year. 20% of the whole revenue from the whole site goes back to our speakers based on their share of consumption. So I say to anyone listening and or the audience current, if you are interested or if you know people that are great speakers in the project space, any stretch from the requirements to the strategy or anything in between, get a hold of me. I'm looking, always interested. We do the recordings on Zoom. We help set you up. You get a PowerPoint ready to go. We record and we take care of the rest. We do all the editing. So it's a simple and easy entry point into getting onto a platform as a presenter, whether you are a presenter professionally or not. Employee of a big organization, small organization, or for yourself, come on in. We'd love to have you if you've got something to share that might be interesting.
While also exercising, I guess, practicing your skill set as a project manager, your presentation skills, your writing skills, so on and so forth. If there's no rules, they can just be creative.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I put the link in the chat box for folks here to grab.
Great. Good. Tell people if they check it out, then there's a contact us or they can contact me directly. Find me on LinkedIn, David Barrett, Project Management, you'll find me.
Okay, sounds good. How about any books? Are there in plan any books? Any more books?
No, not at the moment.
No.
My wife won't allow me.
Well, I mean, you did say maybe a 3rd edition of the Keys to Our Success.
I know. I said that out loud, and I heard myself say it, and I punched myself in the stomach when I said it. Got to focus on this Project Bites at the moment.
Maybe a new collaboration will help with that 3rd edition.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Well, David, thank you so much. I think we're coming close to the top of the hour. So is there anything that we're thinking that in this book club, some of our members might be interested in becoming authors themselves at some stage? Some of them might be already, some of them maybe bloggers for now. Would there be, I guess, in closing, a piece of advice that you would give anyone who just wants to start fresh into writing books?
Yeah, a couple of quick things. One is I'd be happy to do my webinar with you. If you're at all interested, we meet again. We can just talk about book writing. I just finished for my speakers a webinar on, 1 hour on book writing. Why would you do it? The pitfalls, the good news, the bad news, the truth, how you publish, and some of the strategies for actually producing the book. Number one, I say, if you have any interest in writing a book, done, do it. Don't give me any of this, well, I didn't have time. If you are that serious about it, it is a project. Show me the scope of the project. Show me some research before you launch it. Come to my webinar, let's talk about it first. Set it up as a project. Where are your key milestones and how long is it going to take you? And don't be crazy like it's not going to take you 2 weeks. No one can do that. It might take you a year. Give yourself time. But here's the problem. Here's the issue. You have to have structure to the plan. You have to build the plan and commit to it. That's it. You can't fluff through it. You just cannot let the first major milestone go on by because you got business, you got busy or lazy. You've got to be that dedicated. If you're not going to write the book. I promise you that. So you got to set up the schedule. Nope, not going to happen. You got to set up the schedule. You got to be committed, and you got to go light, go easy. Don't promise that much. I've got an idea for your readers, your listeners. Start a blog. Forgot about that blog. Someone said to me, oh, and by the way, authors, if you're a writer, a blogger, then maybe you've got the book written already. Just go to your website, sort by the number of hits each blog post got, pick the first 20, and put it into a book. I went, that sounds like a good idea. I have been blogging since I quit Project World, and I started that next week, January the 1st. I started blogging every single day. Every single week. And I publish at 2 p.m. Wednesdays. I got my final version for tomorrow's post. And I've written 300 to 400 words every single week for 8 years. I could produce 5 books out of that. People are going to read it? Well, if they like what I think and say, they might be interested. Or maybe I could just talk about leadership, or maybe I could just talk about more technical project management. But I've written it all. It's all in there. You take the blogs and you just republish them in a book. Put them in a hard copy, hire an editor, and get her to clean up the mess. One way to do it is just to write every week. 400 words, it's all I want. Let's see how it goes. Well, what do I write about? Well, you're going to write about your passion. You're going to write about your industry. You're going to write about your business. Yeah, I don't know. Well, then stop. You're not a book writer. I mean, if you came to this conversation to talk about book writing, the key is you've got something to write about. You either have a passion or a knowledge that you want to share. So you got to have that. My passion has always been the business of project management. My passion has been the people I've met and the experiences through Project World and a whole bunch of other stuff that I've learned. So I write topics like honesty and integrity, the key for all of us. I write next chapter. Everyone should have a vision. This is good stuff, actually. I write here on project management. What does a project management office look like? A PMO? That's a good question. Are you project managing more than you are managing your project? Good stuff. So this is how I write. So chip away at it, one a week. 1 year, take all of those, sort by the most popular, and publish them. Just for fun. You know what? At least you got something to take to the next trade show, or you could put it on your website. Author of. No one's going to read it. But who cares? You've written your first book. Took you a year to write it. 52 chapters, 52 weeks. You sort by the best, and you publish 20 of them. In a nice, small, little, thin book. Self-publish. You're not going to some publishing company. You're coming back to me, coming to my webinar that you and I are going to do together next. And we talk about how to self-publish.
Yeah, related to your webinar for the audience, I did attend that one session you did the first time. I think that was the first session. So it was a really good webinar. I think I personally took away a lot of great insight from it.
Cool. Let's do it again.
So, yeah. Yeah, but thank you, David. This was a great piece of advice. Thank you for showing us all your books. And then for people in the audience, the recording will be available shortly. We also were live on YouTube. So for those on you on YouTube, if you didn't have a chance to ask questions through that chat, you can just shoot us an email and we'll take care of those. And then the recording will be available as usual on the PMO website and on our LinkedIn page and the YouTube channel. So everything will be out there, made public in a very short bit. David, thank you once again for coming
You're very
today.
welcome. That's fun. That's fun.
It
Thanks
was,
for having me. This is a
it
nice
was
chat.
really insightful.
Old memories for me. It was good.
Good. It was a pleasure for us. I'm sure you have more. You have more to share. So maybe in the future, maybe we can do something else together. I'm sure people will be excited.
I'd love to work with you again. Great. Thank you all. Thanks for listening and thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned for our next episode, which will be in sometime in beginning of November. We're taking a slight break in October because of the global conference that we're putting together. So we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, David.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye.